Right, we're preparing the live streaming preview now. Okay. All right, we are live today with Dr. Asha Pai Bohannon. Welcome, Dr. Bohannon. I'm so glad that you have joined me today. I am Michelle Hoffmann. I am also, like Dr. Bohannon, an international best-selling author. I have asked Dr. Bohannon here today to help us figure out how to stay healthy and confident in our health during really uncertain times. I am the author of Life Worth Living, and I help clients who have gone through major life role changes figure out how to parent their children, have dreams of their own, and get control even in an out of control situation. And my situation that brought me to that was losing my spouse. So oftentimes I'm parenting, helping single parents figure out how to parent alone, and now bring work into the living room, which is also doubling as the homeschooling room and the home gym and the entertainment center and everything else. So how do you find focus in chaos? And one of the big concerns that I'm hearing from my clients is that we're really worried about our health. So I want to bring that into context with Dr. Asha Bohannon, because we're all sheltering in place during this COVID-19 pandemic. And meanwhile, I've just put together and published my second book, which is focusing on how to help businesses train management and management dealing with new environments, like deploying their entire teams within 3 days to work remotely and maintain strong teams, meet objectives, and maintain revenue and grow their business even during these uncertain times. So with all of this going on, the big issue and fear here is that we don't want to lose any of our health, but our whole worlds have changed. So, Dr. Bohannon, I wonder if you can tell everyone here a little bit about how you got into this. And thank you again for speaking at our COVID-19 Wellness Summit. Your contributions were so amazing, impressive, profound. And it's totally changed things for, I know, myself and my family and other listeners who have responded to me going, wow, I really learned a lot. So can you share with us today some of the things that you shared with us previously and how you got into this?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Michelle. This has been such a great experience to be able to share the stage, somewhat stage with you throughout this whole thing. Yeah, it's such a tough time, but I got started with what I do. I'm a pharmacist by trade. And so I've been in healthcare for over 20 years. And I kind of I felt like I was feeding people's illnesses my entire career. It was something always in the back of my head. I never could quite put my finger on it until I actually started having children and my body basically crashed. So when my body crashed after having children, which I think most moms out there could probably attest to, that's when all my health issues started. And I got to see the healthcare system from the other side of it as a patient. And that's where it all started. So this started about, well, honestly, it started about 10 to 12 years ago, but I didn't realize it until about 6 years ago after I had my second son.
What an incredible perspective to see, both professionally, how you were helping people in the world, and then wondering, what does it really feel like to be on the other side of that? And experiencing both sides of that gives you a perspective that very few of us actually have. So what are you doing with that information?
Yeah, so as I went through my own health journey, just the brief synopsis is I felt very alone. I felt like I was falling through the cracks because I didn't fit into this nice little box of healthcare and as we know it, at least here in the US. And I couldn't find the answers. I was struggling. I was, like I said, alone. I was miserable. And I didn't know where else to go. And So at that point, after trying many things and a lot of different physicians and practitioners and holistic practitioners and people just throwing things at me, whether it was supplements, it was either all supplements or it was all prescriptions. And there was never any figuring out what was going on with me. That's where I kind of was stuck. And I literally one day after about 3 years looked at my husband and said, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't just keep going back and forth and not figuring out what's wrong, and having nobody care about that really, because that's what it felt like. And so I was like, you know what? I'm well equipped to do this as a practitioner. I've seen it for many years. I don't know why I was looking, what I was looking for, but I have it in me. And so I'm just going to go do this. And so I really figured out what process I needed to put myself through to be able to find the answers that I needed for my body, because that was the whole problem.
And then once you were able to figure that out, I mean, amazing you for figuring that out and also working with your family to figure that out, working with your education and your professional and personal experience to figure that out. What happened then?
So what happened then was I actually started finding answers. And so that was the idea. It was just, I felt stuck. And so when I started finding answers, and I'm going to be completely transparent. I'm still on the journey, and I think I'm going to be on that journey until I'm not here anymore. Right. We're all on a
Right.
health journey for the rest of our lives. But I started finding answers. My energy started coming back. My drive and motivation and just everything started coming back. I started to be even a better version of myself than I was before.
Right.
And that to me was the biggest thing. I wanted to be the best mom that I could be, and be able to do those things that I feel like I was put on this planet to do. Whereas for a long period of time when I was stuck in that mode, was I felt like I couldn't do anything. I was I was lifeless almost, is a really good way to put it.
So you turned that around and then you wrote a book on it to help other people. So tell us a little bit about how you transitioned your personal journey, which is a lifelong journey, especially as the world is changing around us, to a journey in which you're actually able to not only help yourself, but helping others.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always felt like, I was meant to be in healthcare for a variety of reasons. I love helping people. I love digging to find answers to health issues. And so once I got myself under control and I started having the will and ability to do those kinds of things, I wrote the book to really just share with the world where our healthcare system is. And I say the world because in the book, I call it Dr. Google, because we all use it. We do. Even I do. We just pop in something into Google and we expect answers, and we get answers within milliseconds, right?
Mhm.
But what is the right information for you? Like each individual, every body is different.
Right.
And I think that we just rely so heavily on technology for this information these days and not really knowing what's right. And then with social media and trends and all of those things, they aren't necessarily what's going to work for you. And will be the first to tell you, I've tried what I feel like is literally everything. And when things weren't working, I internalized that.
Right.
Right. I internalized that, like, what's wrong with me? Why is this not working for me, but it's working for the entire rest of the world? And the case is it's not working for the rest of the world, or we'd all be doing it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's a trend for a reason, and it works for certain people. And so it's, instead of being, that actually made me spiral downwards more. And
Mm.
that's what I want to share with people, is that you're not alone in this. You're not the only one feeling that way. It's just, we're not told to go and shout it out to the world that we're feeling that way.
Right. There's the Dr. Google. And, we're only as good as our search terms and our understanding and how to interpret that for ourselves. And
Right.
then we're always supposed to look so great and pretty on the Facebook life that we're supposed to be having, if we're going to be using those two references.
Yes.
So, how do people come to you to understand about contraindications and maybe how, what they may be prepping for, or, how do they support? The big thing right now is maintaining your immune system so that you and your family can get through a difficult situation. And I know a lot of that has to do with gut health and maintaining immune support. So
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
kinds of things do you do when people come to you to ask for help?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I typically do is I offer 30 free 30-minute consultations for anybody that is interested, because I need to learn a little bit more about what you're looking to do, what information you're looking for. And sometimes I can literally just tell you some advice right there on the phone. But what I also do, some of the more specific things that I do is, at this point in time, I'm doing a lot of medication therapy management, where what that means is it's about, if you're taking 5, 10, 15 medications, and that includes prescriptions, over the counter supplements, and you're getting them from this pharmacy or that pharmacy or this, vitamin shop or whatever it is, wherever, or Amazon, and you have no idea what interactions are going on, or am I supposed to be taking this stuff? Am I wasting my money? Are they good quality supplements or prescriptions that I should be taking? And so I'm doing a lot of that and putting kind of the pieces of the puzzle together, because what ends up happening, like I mentioned, is that we go here, there, and everywhere for everything right now.
Right, right.
Right. And so the right hand doesn't always know what the left hand is doing. Right. So we've got to get the two working together to be able to understand the full picture for you. So that's a large part of what I'm doing for a lot of people. And then if you've got immune system issues, and right now we're all fighting that, and we're trying to figure out what the right things to do to boost our immune system are, and those kinds of things. I do a lot on my blog and with videos and things like that, just to kind of share more information about what we can do. And I have a very East meets West mentality and philosophy.
Yeah.
So I use a lot of, holistic, herbal, Ayurvedic kind of things, but I also use a lot of things from the Western side of it as well, like vitamin C and vitamin D and different things that are very well known and very easily accessible. So, and then I also have a gut health program. So 70 to 80% of our immune system is housed in the gut. And so isn't that crazy? That's a crazy number. And a lot of people don't know that. And so if you think about what we've been doing to ourselves over the years prior to being in this situation with COVID-19, is we ate a lot of processed foods, and we've just done so much to ourselves. I was one of those people. My journey actually started with gut health and kind of rebuilding that and that microbiome and that environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is honestly, in my opinion, it's a really great time to kind of focus on that, because we're eating out. Most of us are eating out a lot less. I mean, you can still order out, and that's great, but it's a little harder to get to than the convenience of before. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about how we can get your immune system that's housed mostly in your gut to a better place, because all the supplements and all of the things in the world are not going to help you if what you're starting with is already damaged.
Well, that's a tricky situation right now because we're all sheltering in place. And I know that alcohol consumption has increased tremendously, which of course is then converted right into sugar. And I know, there's this huge rush on flour because even though we're making it ourselves, we're looking for the comfort foods to get through this time, which we plan on it being temporary. So we're thinking, let's just get through this and let's just relax and see where we can find fun and comfort. And you know what? I'm really good at eating. So I want to do something I'm really good at. And,
I like that. I'm good at
and
eating.
we're, yeah, I know. And it's like, even spending time with the kids, it's like one of the things we can do together is bake cookies or do things. And it's like great family time. But then, oh my God, a friend of mine made donuts. And there were just massive amounts of donuts, piles and piles of donuts. Her family is big, but it's not as big as the mountains of donuts.
Mm-hmm.
So, we all want to make sure that we're doing the right thing and balancing all of that comfort as well as the family time and satisfying whatever those needs are. And sometimes when I'm working with clients, it's like, well, if this is an emotional need, are you trying to satisfy it in a physical way? Because it's never really going to work like that. So I think that's a little bit about what you're saying, but I'm a little bit concerned my teenagers might be pre-diabetic
Yeah.
because all of the sugar and starch and not enough activity and that sort of thing. What kind of suggestions and recommendations do you put in that situation?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm a certified diabetes educator. So this is my wheelhouse as well, is talking about, pre-diabetes and type 2. And obviously that's become an epidemic in our society prior to COVID-19. So we definitely need to talk about it now. I think you hit the nail on the head, Michelle. I'm just going to go back to something that you said, which was, comfort foods, and are we emotionally triggered to do these things? So I want to take it back to a lot of what I share is actually talking about mindfulness
Hmm.
and being present in the moment. So I'm a baker too. Honestly, I like to bake better than I do cook. I'll be honest. I cook too, but I'm a baker. So I have found recipes and found ways to make these things a little healthier. No, they are not the, good cookie dough kind of things that you would go and Pillsbury and pull off and start to bake, but they're still really good. And so it's, if you're being mindful as to why you're doing it, are you doing it because you just want the comfort food, or is it because you need comfort in the kids being around you? And so it doesn't really matter what you're cooking at that point then. It's about the time and being present with the moment, and then just having that really nutritious, healthy cookie that you might have sprinkled some vegetables in that the kids don't know. Like, how can you do that? And I've done that. I do that all the time. I make carrot and zucchini muffins that the kids absolutely love, and they're really healthy. For the most part, we don't use the bleached flour and the wheat flour and those kinds of things. We actually use like coconut flour or almond flour, and so it's a little bit healthier. The kids love it. We enjoy making it, and then we eat it right afterwards. We
Right.
eat it in the moment, right? So it's not just there to bake, and then we go and I go off and Netflix binge and eat a whole pile, which
Right.
that's fine too, but at least it's healthier.
Right.
So a lot of what I talk about right now is the mindfulness around the present moment, being present. I think, you and I were, prior to even starting this, we were just talking about, I'm not a homeschooling mom by nature, but I'm embracing this right now. And no, I know nothing about Common Core math. And yes, my kids are younger, but at the same time, it's a matter of I'm showing them that I don't know everything, and it's okay not to know everything. And I think this is a time to comfort ourselves. And so instead of doing it through things like food, comfort ourselves in the mindset and changing how we're feeling about ourselves and what we're doing. We're not going to be super women. You can be super moms or super dads in other ways for your children by showing them, you know what, I don't know this. No, let's go look this up together and figure this out.
Right. Right. And that's role modeling a very real version of how to get through life, not
Yeah.
just a pandemic, but
Mm-hmm.
here's how we bond together and work together and maintain a schedule and a healthy lifestyle despite the world changing around us. We still have a schedule and we focus on intellectual and academic pursuits. Thank God for Khan Academy, so I can sometimes figure out the advanced math, 5 seconds before my kids need me to help them with it. And now they're starting to teach me stuff. I mean, they've always taught me things, but you know what I mean. Um, and so we have intellectual academic pursuits. We've got downtime, playtime, which we focus on big motor skills, fine, like running. And I have a circuit in the living room that that combine strength training and cardiovascular. And so big muscle groups, fine motor skills, which would be Legos and art. Sewing is a new project in our house. Cooking, and that's like the chemistry. So it's also intellectual pursuits.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we've got the intellectual academic, we've got the playtime, which schedules out into 3 ways of intellectual academic, fine motor skills, and big motor skills. And then we've got downtime. And then we have family fun time, where we really make an effort to put time together for all of us to be doing something together, even if it's in our living room. We've done like with all the maze of Amazon boxes that we have. Well, one, we did a maze and tried to get the dog through it. Pee-wee golf with a broom and the dog ball, and of course the extra obstacle of the dog trying to chase the ball. Um, And whether we're playing cards or games like that. And I mean, I have teenagers now. So when it used to be we would have playtime, however, whatever games they were playing would tell me what was going on with them by
Mhm.
observing and listening to the interaction of the
That's
game.
wonderful. Yeah.
And now they're older and I can ask them, do you want me to listen, guide, or help? And the hardest part is always doing what they're asking. And for a long time, especially during this shelter in place, they were saying, just listen to me, just listen.
Mhm.
Now they're saying guide. And then I get to share my values with them as a parent. And then they're going to go and do whatever they're going to do anyway. And if they need me to help them with something, I can help them. Of course, the really funny moment that happened yesterday in our house was that my son fired me as a parent.
Did he hire you as a friend though?
No, he did not. And this lasted for maybe like an hour. Um, so he went ahead and he fired me as a parent. And then he quickly realized what a mistake that was and how the service levels were going to instantly decrease. And so he wanted to hire me back. And I said, well, no, I'm willing to work as an independent contractor. And he can have the friends and family rate, but it's going to be charged in 15-minute increments. And so going to get him to let him know that dinner was on the table was going to cost him $50. And he's like, wait, what? So this hilarious dinner conversation ensues and this negotiation. Meanwhile, my daughter says, I would like to upgrade my contract to platinum level. I'd like to be in the premium account. And I'm like, excellent, we can renegotiate that. So she and I will be doing a home spa day today, which of course then is more bandwidth toward my daughter. And my son's going, wait, all I want is a decrease in nagging by 2%. He's not asking for that much. So now we're negotiating what will happen next. But, this kind of thing of, what's really important
Mhm.
uh, is rising to the top when we're spending so much time together. And what's really important is knowing that we're taking care of our health in good way. So
Mhm.
what other kinds of things come to you when clients are coming to you asking for help?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So the my program itself is it's called the 7 Steps to Harmony program. It's my big program, and it's really finding harmony is an acronym, and it's finding the harmony in life. My least favorite word right now is balance, because when I think of balance, I think of acrobats holding plates on a different sticks, and they're kind of going all over the place. One misstep and everything comes crashing down, right? Like that's the idea. But in harmony, I think of harmony like, okay, sometimes it's going to be here, sometimes it's going to be here, and it's just very flowing. And so that's why I like the word harmony, because I feel like we can have it all, we just can't have it all at the same time. And so when I think of harmony, this is what I'm doing on a daily basis. And this is what I teach my clients to do, is using these steps to really put everything into perspective on a daily basis. So it's a daily thing. It's not just once a week. It's not just being mindful once a week. It's not doing exercise once a week.
Right.
It's not healthy eating once a week. You
The
see a
weekend
pattern?
warrior on all of those things was great. And now our body.
It's not that way. And so for me, like, it's part of my value system, like you were just saying, to teach my kids to do this daily. And so it's okay to go and have that binge on ice cream. We do it. I'm not going to say that we haven't done comfort foods at all during this time, or that we're just, we're Netflix binging. I can't say that word. Why can't I not say that word?
Vocabulary.
Or just binging and watching TV. Can I say that? We're still doing those things, but it's all in harmony with everything good that we're doing for ourselves. Right. And so thinking every day about, how am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? And it's okay that one time that year, I just want a little bit of ice cream today. Fine. Let's go get ice cream. Let's get take the gallon out from the fridge. How are we exercising on a regular basis? How are we moving our bodies? And making it so it's a daily thing. And right now, honestly, I think we need to be mirroring this for our children now more than ever. because most of the time, unless you're homeschooling them, they are not seeing you for 7 to 8 hours out of a day.
Right. And now
They
they're
don't.
watching us every moment of the day.
So this is a great time for us to be really, truly working on our health and our happiness and showing them values. Are we going to be happy all the time? No, will be the first to tell you that I am not happy all the time. But this is also a chance for us to show them how we handle that situation. How do we handle the stress that's being thrown at us? How do we handle, are we going to go and binge and emotionally eat? I find my kids are already like that. I have a 9 and a 6-year-old, and my 6-year-old is already like, oh, I'm bored, I want food.
Right.
Where are they learning that? I have no idea. But this is our chance to be able to flip that switch and
Right.
show them that you don't know. Okay, you're bored, go drink some water, and then let's go play a game, or let's go do some coloring, or give them something more constructive to do. And so that's how I work with my clients, is to actually help them find those things for them so they can now mirror it for their children.
So, in addition to sharing our value systems with our family, because we are once again on 24-hour watch, like when our kids were infants and toddlers and little, and we had them in our arms 24 hours a day, it's almost as if we have them in our arms because we have them in our homes and nearby 24 hours a day again. So, we're sharing with them our value system. We're showing them how to take care of themselves by taking care of ourselves. What if you've got clients who are on medications right now? How do you work with them?
So the clients that are on medications, everything's done virtually right now. So I'm working with them to get a clear picture of what they're on, how they're supposed to be doing things. So a lot of times now our schedules are out of whack. Half of us don't even know what day it is right now,
My God, I
right?
know.
I know. So it's really kind of getting them on a schedule, getting them prepared for, how do I do this right now? I'm not having to wake up at 5:30 in the morning right now to get my workout in, to do the normal schedule that we were doing, because everything's changed. And their kids are now becoming more of a priority throughout the day. So the idea is, well, how am I supposed to be taking these things, and what am I supposed to be doing? And so really kind of coming up and creating that plan to help them.
Mhm.
And I mean, honestly, I keep reiterating, just because kids are always on the forefront of my brain, my kids. And I think that that's where we all are right now, is that we have to do this to model for our children, to model how this works, so that when they get older, they're like, okay, I can't just, if I'm supposed to be on medications, like I can't just haphazardly take them, that it's something important to think about. Even going through work right now, I'm able to tell them, like, this is very important. Mommy has a very important work call, and so you need to do X, Y, and Z, and stay here and do this. And it's teaching them the values of doing work. And mommy actually does work. It's not just dropping them off at school. And
Oh my God, I know. They actually now know that we are doing something.
it may have just made my cape a little bit longer, right? Like
Totally true. Totally true. So,
So I think that right now with medications, with health, it's honestly, I know we're stretching to get to that comfort level, but mindfulness being at the top of this, how can we be mindful enough that we are keeping our health at the forefront when we actually have time? Because let's be honest, before all of this, where we were sheltered in, our excuse was, I don't have time to go take care of myself.
right.
I don't have the time. Well, now we don't have that excuse. So if it's important to you, now is the time. It's always the time to take care of yourself, because how are you going to take care of yourself, your family, your children, your loved ones, your clients, your patients, your whoever it is that's in front of you, if you are failing at health itself?
Right. So, I mean, some of the things that you're talking about are being mindful about how we live our lives, which is good practice all the time. And now it's critical during this crisis time. You're talking about not only taking care of ourselves for ourselves, but that more than our life is at risk because we're role modeling for our children how to make good choices. And you're also talking about, what we should be doing in that. And that's actually what's creating the balance in our lives. So I wonder if you can give us some of your like top tips, and then what might happen if you don't do this.
So top tips. I have so many, but I will pick a couple.
Okay.
I think the top tip is I know right now the biggest thing is stress.
Yeah.
And I have heard this a lot more recently, and I'm going to say it here. I may have said it at the Wellness Summit as well. I think I did. But the thing that I keep hearing is, oh, I'm stressed, but that's normal. So stress has become
Mhm.
a normalcy in our lives, and it's just getting elevated with this pandemic. And I think if there's one thing the first tip that I would say is to make sure that you are doing something for yourself that is stress relief every single day. And
That's
that is
hard.
not eating.
It's not eating.
Eating. So
Very, that's really, really hard. If we can just take a moment on that,
yes.
because I'm like I was saying earlier, if I'm having a physical ailment, then
Mhm.
I need to address the physical ailment with being physical. If I'm having an emotional ailment, doing something physical doesn't resolve the emotional ailment or need or emotion. And if I'm having like an intellectual, like blink, then you practice that, or spiritual one, then you go to that. But trying to fill a space with one of the other things doesn't work.
Doesn't
So,
work. Mhm.
um, like stress relief is hard to figure out.
It
One,
is, but I love what you said. So here is where getting more self-aware, and this is a time for self-awareness. Like this is really a great time to begin that journey, because it's a journey. You're not just going to wake up one day and be like, "Oh, I got myself figured out," right? It's a journey towards self-awareness, listening to your body and figuring out what those things are. So if it's a physical ailment, a physical thing, and then you need to be aware, like I need to go do something physical right now.
right.
If like I used to be an avid like boxer. I love to box, and we have a boxing bag. So there are times where I'm like, I just need to go let out some aggressions. I'm going to put my gloves on and I'm just going to wail for a little bit. And that's okay, but that helps me at that moment, because I know that that's the physical part that I need to get out. If it's emotional, see, we usually go towards food. I don't know where that ever got started, but those don't necessarily fill those buckets of need, right? It's temporary and it doesn't last. And so when I think of emotional, I think of journaling. That's me, right? And so people don't like to write, fine, go and voice message it to yourself. Everybody has their phone 24/7. Voice message yourself a journal.
Right.
Go to gratitude journaling. That's an emotional fill. If it's spiritual, there's several spiritual practices. I mean, we could get into that too, but if you know what bucket needs to be filled at that moment, then if it's intellectual, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to ram my head into this wall because I can't figure out this algebra for my kid. Right? Then go do something intellectual for yourself that actually fills that bucket.
Good one.
Right. So
That's
it's like,
how to get control in an out of control situation. Do
yes.
one little thing that you're capable of doing. And I know when I have clients, especially, I mean, the client as well, but I just use the kids as an example. If they're like totally having an emotional meltdown and like firing their mom for the day. I mean, their brain is just like totally diluted with these emotions, and it's hard to be a critical thinker when that's happening. And the way to shift that back so you're not so flooded with emotion is to give them a chance to do anything, get control of anything. And that's what you're saying. And it's like we knee jerk respond to eating because we know it nourishes us. So
Mhm.
we're looking for that kind of nourishment. But I mean, I love your idea of gratitude journaling, even vocal journaling, and finding out if it's a physical thing. Go ahead, and I'm going to start boxing now too. I don't have one of those bags, but I love that you're doing that. And
The
so
spare box.
there we go. To nourish yourself in that way is a really good idea. Um, so,
Because
okay.
bottom line, Michelle, when it comes to food, you were talking about your kids, you feel like they're going to come out of this pre-diabetic. If we do these things now, if we look at these different steps and we are incorporating them slowly but surely over time, this is what I keep telling everybody. We should all be able to come out of this pandemic with a renewed sense of self,
Mm-hmm.
with all of the healthy habits, or at least the beginnings of healthy habits that we can start to move forward with, and with a new sense of priorities and just life in general. That's what I honestly wish for everybody to do. I mean, I know this is the most difficult time that probably any of us have ever felt.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not downplaying that one bit whatsoever, because I like, my parents live 10 minutes down the road and we haven't seen them in 3 weeks, and this is like unheard of for me. But I'm more worried and scared to death over what could happen with them in particular. And I'm like, so I get all the emotions and I get all of that, but how we channel all of this and how we can come out of this hopefully better for it,
Mm-hmm.
because then it wouldn't have been all for naught. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Right. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So let's keep going with some more of your top tips. And what I'm trying to get at is, when do I know it's time to call you for help? What is
When
that?
you're Yes, when you feel like your health and you're just not able to do it anymore. Like, you are like, okay, great, these are great tips, but how do I do this? I need somebody to guide me through figuring out, because I can tell you all my things that I like to do. They may not be like, somebody might say boxing, what? Like, that's not where I'm at. But it's really figuring out, getting help to figure out and guide you through each of the things that you need to be doing to help your health. And in a more holistic way, in a more natural way, that it's not all medication based. Because my goal is to get you on the least amount of medications possible. So
So
that's
nice to know that we have a doctor who's a pharmacist who actually knows how to do that,
Mhm.
with the expertise and experience to do it. What happens, or what could happen, if we miss that opportunity and we don't call you?
You might end up like I was for the longest time, where I spent years upon years in a fog. And you might be there right now. You might be there right now thinking, I should have done this before. It's never too late until we're not here anymore, right? It's never too late until we're not here. But my goal is to not to prolong that end point,
Right.
because I felt for many years that I didn't know how much longer I had on this planet. And I had these young
Mhm.
children, and I didn't know what I would do what they would do if I was gone.
Right.
And so if you're at that point right now where you're feeling like, I don't know how much longer I have, I don't know what to do, I'm not getting any answers, that's when I would call someone, or call me, to just at least give you the next steps, just
Okay.
some next steps. So I think a large part of it is people get very overwhelmed with, I can't look at all of these things. That's not how my program works. It is very focused on things that you are able to do right here, right now, and you've got somebody holding you accountable and walking the journey with you. And oh, by the way, who has probably felt every symptom that you felt.
So, um, that it's really nice to know that we have someone we can reach out to, who knows what they're doing and what we're going through, so that you can help us along that path and make sure that we don't have to live in a brain fog, and to make sure that we are healthy and modeling for our children the the best way to get through even the most difficult of times in a really healthy manner. How would somebody get a hold of you, Dr. Bohannon?
Yes. So you can contact me. I can give you my email address. My email address is Asha at, so it's ASHA at Pai Wellness Group, all one word, .com. Or you can find me at my website, is piwellnessgroup.com, or ashapaibohannon.com.
And what would you say, like I know we were going down to what would be the top tips, and then we were like,
We
stress
kind
is
of rattled,
coming.
yeah.
You have any other like general top tips that everybody needs to be practicing right now?
Hand washing. Everybody needs to be hand washing. I'm saying, I'm not trying to be funny, but it's true. I mean, I think what I'm hearing too, I was talking to a physician friend of mine earlier today, actually, and he was saying if we could just get everybody on board for a period of time with the social distancing, the just being mindful of if you're going out, wear a mask or wear something to cover up, and do your hand washing 50 times a day if you have to, whatever that looks like. And those are the top tips for this particular pandemic. But moving forward, as far as health is concerned, is really my biggest top tip besides the stress management right now is to be really thinking and start to become more self-aware
Mhm.
of your health and where you are at. Because what ends up happening when we are the caregivers that wear 50 million hats in an hour is we forget about our own health and how we are actually failing
Yeah. We
ourselves, right?
tell us again, what is going to be the trigger that says I need to call you? And with that, give us your contact information one more time.
Sure. So the trigger to call me is I am not able to function properly throughout the day. And a lot of times with diabetes patients, that's my blood sugars are either getting way too high, they're way too low. I'm, having to shove food in my mouth because my blood sugars are dropping too fast. I have no idea how to control this right now. My schedules are off. I am not quite sure what I need to do. And then because I'm shoving my food in my mouth, all of a sudden my blood sugars skyrocket. And this can happen to literally anybody. It does not necessarily have to be a diabetes patient,
Mhm.
is that's what's going on in our bodies all day long. So when you're afraid that you might come out of this pre-diabetic, it's a distinct possibility that you could, because we're not being mindful of when we're eating, how we're eating, and what we're eating right now. So if you're feeling like your life is kind of spinning out of control in those avenues,
Mhm.
that would be the time to just say, hey, let's take a pause and actually try to see if we can get some help on this and get this under control. And so again, my contact information is Asha at piewellnessgroup.com, where you can find me on our websites, piewellnessgroup.com or ashapaibohannon.com.
Yeah, I think I'll look at piewellnessgroup.com like just before that happens so that I don't need to be in that out of control situation.
And honestly, it's happening more than you think right now. And that's why I mentioned that, because I'm hearing that more and more is I'm already in that situation. And then, you feel like it's too late. It's never too late. Now, any time that you feel like is the time is now's the time. So
Yeah.
you just get into that moment and say, now's the time I need to go and get this fixed. I need to figure this out. And, I talked a lot about children. Children are a really huge priority in my life. But really, this is for you.
Yeah.
This is for you. This is for who you are, who you want to be, who you want to become. And you can't do that if you're sick.
Right.
A
Right.
lot of times we don't value our health until we see sickness. And I
And
don't want people to get there.
right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing it not only, fearing for ourselves, but fearing for our loved ones. How
Mm-hmm.
would you recommend, like, if somebody were like, I know one of my loved ones is going through this and they could benefit from you. How can we delicately guide them to you for something like that? Because
It
sometimes we
depends
think,
on it depends on the situation. And if you've had a conversation before, then that might be an easier transition to say, hey, I've heard this, this doctor, this pharmacist who holistically looks at health and wellness,
mhm,
and sees both sides of this coin. You're on all these medications or you're not on any medications and you may need to be. Here's this website. Like, that would be a great way just to start, is to say, look, go take a look at our website and see if there's something that sparks something for you.
I know I keep
Um,
asking you this, but will you spell your website out for us again?
yes. So let me tell you what it stands for, and that might help kind of ring the bell. So
Okay.
PI is my maiden name. So Asha Pai Bohannon, right? So PI, it stands for Patient Advocacy Initiative. So it's
PAI.
PAI Wellness Group. So it's all one word. So Pi Wellness Group, WELLNESS GROUP.com.
So to get to you, it's PAIWELLNESS GROUP.com. And do you have your book on that site too?
I do have my book on that site. It's right here too.
Um,
So my book, yes, is To Medicate or Not. That is the question. How to improve your blood test results on the least amount of medications possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Bohannon. It's really important to know that as we create our own life worth living, and we're mindfully creating the future, that we have you as a resource to rely on to guide us along the way. I'm Michelle Hoffmann. I'm the author of Life Worth Living, and you can reach me at yourlifeworthliving.org, YOURLIFEWORTHLIVING.org. And you're welcome to download a copy of my book for free to help you create your life worth living. And if the tools in the book are not enough, then go ahead and reach out to me. And I know that Dr. Bohannon would also extend that hand as well to go on to the piwellnessgroup.com site, and you can reach out to her directly and do that before the brain fog sets in, so that you're building your immune system and you're building harmony in your life, in your body, and being a great role model in your family and for your children. And then also, if you're a business who's looking to create strong management and supportive leaders in your organization, even during these changing times, you can go ahead and look at Amazon for New Manager's Blueprint: How to Successfully Lead People and Teams in Changing Times by Michelle Hoffmann. Thank you so much, Dr. Bohannon. We will make sure that this recording is available to your people. And also I'm sending it out to my awareness group too, because what you have to share is so valuable.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Michelle. I appreciate you.
Thank you.